What's going on, everybody, and welcome back once again to the channel. And before we get into today's video, make sure to subscribe and sack that like button if you haven't already, and if you have, you're awesome. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. Today will be my NFL Week 10 preview. So without further ado, let's begin. Starting with the Thursday night game, which is tomorrow. Falcons at the Panthers, a divisional matchup, an important matchup, even though it may seem like the season's already done for the Panthers. If they win this game, they're very much in the mix in the NFC South. If the Falcons win it, they will be in first place in the division at least until Sunday, depending on what the Buccaneers do. Last time these two teams played, it had a wild ending. It really could go either way. Last time the Panthers had P.J. Walker at quarterback. It's expected Baker Mayfield will be starting this one, which I think will only help them. I'm going to take the Panthers in this one, 23-20. Sorry, TVT, if you're watching out there, man. I know you're a big Falcons fan. Sorry about this, but I'm going to have to take the Panthers on this one. I think the Panthers playing at home and with Mayfield may give them the spark they need to get this win. But I still think, the Falcons are probably the better overall team. Then the Seahawks at the Buccaneers, the first ever NFL game played in Germany. This is a big test for both teams. If you're the Seahawks, how do you match up against, an experienced playoff team? And if you're the Buccaneers, how do you match up against a team that's been on fire lately? This is a game that's very interesting. It's hard to say what will go down in this game, but you got to think that the Buccaneers receiving core will kind of get going against the Seahawks secondary, and there's a lot of young corners on that Seahawks secondary. You got to think Brady will be able to, manipulate them and make them look like a rookie at least a couple of times throughout the game. I think the Buccaneers will put up a decent amount of points in this game, unlike previous weeks. And I think the Seahawks will put some points on the board too. I don't think the Buccaneers have a true corner who can guard DK Metcalf. They're probably going to have to double team him a bit. Noah Fant will be working the middle. Devin White is not having a good year. And yeah, but I'm going to take the Buccaneers to win it 31-24. But this is a game that I think could really go either way. And I don't think the Seahawks have to have it, and I don't think the Bucks have to have it, but it's a game that is a huge confidence builder for the winner moving forward. Then the Lions at the Bears. This is probably going to be a high-scoring game, especially since the way these two defenses have been playing lately. However, I will credit the Lions defense playing good last week, but overall in the season it hasn't been too good. I'm going to take the Bears to win it 34-31. I think Justin Fields will make just enough plays in this game to get his team the win, but it could go either way between these two. Then the Browns at the Dolphins. Browns coming off of a bye week, and I actually like the way this Browns team matches up against the Dolphins, because the Browns offense is based on running the football, and that's the thing the Dolphins struggle the most with, stopping the run. So if Chubb and Hunt get going against that front seven, it may be a long day for the Dolphins. And then on the other side of the ball, there's not too many teams that can say they have the speed in the secondary to at least keep up a little bit with the speed the Dolphins have at the receiving core. And the Browns can. I'm not saying that they're at just as fast, because they're not, but they can definitely slow down in man-to-man coverage or in zone, Hill and Waddle. So I think the Browns have the perfect secondary and the perfect running attack to be able to match up well against the Dolphins. I'm gonna take the Browns to win this one, 28-24. I still think the Dolphins are the team that will have more success down the road when matching up against other teams. But I think these two teams, the favor goes to the Browns in terms of the matchup. Then the Broncos at the Titans. Broncos are coming off a bye. The Titans, I think, should be able to get this win over the Broncos. I got them winning at 26-23. I think Derrick Henry should have a good game if they run inside a lot against the D-line. Titans defense has been looking pretty good. They should be able to shut down the Broncos throughout most of the game, but at the same time, coming off a bye week, you got to think the Broncos offense will get something going. That's why I have it being a little bit close, but like I said, I got the Titans winning it. Then the Vikings at the Bills, a huge game here. The Vikings come into it 7-1. Bills come into it 6-2. Honestly, two top four teams in the league right now. This is going to be a very interesting game. It's the first time Stephon Diggs plays his former team since he left in 2020. So it's a massive game for both sides. I think if the Vikings win this game, people are going to look at them as legitimate Super Bowl contenders, if they're not already. And if the Bills win it, they'll be seen as, okay, they bounced back. Last week was a fluke. It's a little bit unclear if Josh Allen will play. The hope among the Bills is that he can play through this injury. So it sounds like he's gonna play this week. It doesn't sound like he's not gonna play. But the Vikings defense is pretty solid. They played well against the Commanders. I think they'll be able to slow down the Bills offense a little bit, maybe force some field goals during the game. And I also think on the other side of the ball, I think the Vikings are going to be able to get a really good outside zone running scheme going against the Bills. I don't think the Bills linebackers will be able to stop that as well as they would want. The Tre'Davious White may play. He's really a week-to-week guy at this point. So I'm just thinking, you have these young corners out there, and Benford and Kaiir Elam. I think the Vikings receivers are going to have a field day against them, and Justin Jefferson showing Stephon Diggs that it was worth it trading him away so they could get Justin Jefferson. That's a trade that's looked back upon as a win-win for both sides for sure. But to this game, I'm going to take the Vikings to win it 28-26. Funny enough, if by some chance Josh Allen does not play in this game, Case Keenum would be making the start, and it would be Case Keenum and Stephon Diggs reunited playing their former team, the two guys that connected on the Minneapolis Miracle for the Vikings. So funny thing there. Then the Texans at the Giants. Giants coming off a bye week. Texans coming off of a longer week since they played on Thursday. I'm going to take the Giants to win this one 24-20. Giants running attack should be pretty good in this game. Texans struggle stopping the run often, and I think the Giants defense will be able to slow down Dameon Pierce and keep their offense on the field, get their offense on the field more often. Then the Jaguars at the Chiefs. I don't think it's pretty self-explanatory here. I think the Chiefs offense should have a field day against the Jaguars defense. Chiefs defense should do well against the Jaguars offense. I got the Chiefs winning this one 37-13 in a blowout. Then the Saints at the Steelers. Steelers coming off a bye. Mike Tomlin has beaten every NFL team except for two teams. One of them, the Steelers, so that doesn't really count because he can't beat his own team. So the only non-Steeler team he has not beaten is the Saints. He's 0-3 against them, which, he doesn't play them very often, but this could be the game where he has beaten all 31 other NFL teams. The Steelers coming off a bye, their season's kind of, in doubt at this point, sitting at 2-6, far back in their division, and, with a rookie quarterback. Saints coming off the tough loss to the Ravens, the score didn't, do justice to how much they were dominated through that game. I got the Saints winning this one though, 26-20. I think the Steelers secondary is really just not good at all, and I think the Saints should at least be able to get some kind of something going in the passing attack in that game. And I think the Saints defense is pretty strong still, and I think it will give Kenny Pickett a tough time. I got the Saints winning at 26-20. Then the Colts at the Raiders. Two teams having really disappointing seasons. Colts just fired their head coach. He brought in Jeff Saturday, an ESPN analyst, former offensive lineman for the Colts. I think teams usually respond pretty well after a firing happens to their coach and they win their first game with their interim head coach. It's a weird thing. I'm gonna take the Colts to win this one 19-16. I think regardless of who wins, it's gonna be a very low scoring game. I can't lean towards one team or the other here. Both of them have some big issues on offensively, especially, but I'm gonna lean towards the Colts in this one. Then the Cardinals at the Rams, big time divisional matchup here. If the Cardinals lose this game, I think their season is really over. And I think if the Rams lose it, I don't know if their season's over, but it will be right. It more mentally, they may feel that it's over if they lose this game too. So it's a big game. Neither one of these teams can afford a loss at this point. The Rams have beaten the Cardinals the last 3 times they've played, including the playoffs. I'm gonna take the Rams in this one, 21-20. I just think the Rams, they are the better team. Cardinals secondary is really bad. I think Cooper Kupp will get obviously a good amount of catches, and I think maybe this is the game where maybe Allen Robinson can get more involved. Looking at you, Sean McVay. The running game probably will be non-existent for the Rams in this one because the Cardinals' run defense is solid, unlike their pass defense, and the Rams just don't have a good running game at all. Cardinals, they may have their struggles throughout the game on offense, though, as well. I'm going to take the Rams, though, 21-20 in a tight one. That it really would not surprise me either way, but I'm leaning towards the Rams. Then the Cowboys at the Packers. We got ourselves a grudge match here. Mike McCarthy returning to Lambeau Field since he was fired during the 2018 season, I believe. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy did not get along together in Green Bay. And, initially, I think a lot of people felt maybe it was McCarthy's fault. And however, Aaron Rodgers has won 2 league MVPs since McCarthy has left. But it hasn't changed the winning in Green Bay in terms of playoff success. So there's an argument here, both sides, where, who was really to blame for the problem, or was it a combination of both? But I will say this, to those who say it is that McCarthy can't win without Rodgers. Rodgers hasn't won anything yet, won a Super Bowl yet without McCarthy, so that's another way to look at it. But regardless, going into this game, Cowboys are coming in pretty strong right now. Packers are coming in pretty beat up, and I think this game really would be the nail in the coffin for the Packers season. The division's out of reach. I mean, they're 5 games back. The Vikings have a tiebreaker. There's just no way they catch up in the division. So their only hope, I feel, is a wild card spot. And even that's in limbo. And if they win this one, lose this one, it'll definitely be over. But, the Cowboys have just looked like the more efficient team. I think in terms of, the potential, these two teams are actually pretty even. But I'm leaning towards the Cowboys because they just have shown more as of late. I think the Cowboys offense will get things going in this game. Maybe not light it up, but get things going. While I think the Packers may struggle a bit with the Cowboys defense that some people would argue is the best defense in the NFL right now. So I'm going to take the Cowboys to win it 27-20. Then the Chargers at the 49ers, the Sunday night game, Battle of California here. Should be another good one here. Justin Herbert's 20-20 as a starter. He has an opportunity to get to a winning record as a starter. Unfortunately for him, I don't think the Chargers will win this game. It'll be the battle of the Bosa brothers too. I'm not sure if Joey Bosa will be playing in this game. I believe he will, but I'm not 100% sure. It's uncertain if he will or not. But I don't think the Chargers have anybody who will be able to guard George Kittle. Maybe Derwin James will shadow him a bit, but in terms of linebackers, they really don't got anyone to do it. I think the Niners offense will get it done in this game. Chargers offense against the Niners secondary should be something to watch too. I don't think the Niners have good corners to be able to cover these guys, but D'Amico Ryan, he's proven he can win with whoever he has back there in that secondary. But I'm going to take the 49ers to win it 26-24 in a big one. Then the Commanders at the Eagles, the final game of the week, the Monday night game. These two teams already played earlier this year. The Eagles dominated them. This one's in Philadelphia. I don't think there's any much of a mystery here. I think the Eagles should win this game. I got them winning it 28-13. But comment down below what you guys think about this. Who are you guys picking in some of these games? Let me know down below. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I appreciate you watching. And I'll see you guys next